But in the meantime, I've been learning more Blender. I can actually show you guys things I've done in Blender. Here we are. Welcome to Blender. Blender is difficult and hard, but if you learn how to do it, you are a god. And you can get it in Steam, which is where I have it, because I kind of like the idea it keeps track of how many hours you spent in. This says 41. I had Blender before I had it in Steam, so I've spent even more hours than whatever this is. I followed like a room tutorial. That was one of the first ones that I did. Oh great, where to go? Well, I may not be able to show you the room tutorial because it died. Here, hey, I can show you guys something. I have cups. I at least have cups I can show you. Look at these beautiful cups. Ignore whatever those are. The little vertices. There you go, there's some cups. Cups without looking at all the vertices and stuff. I made cups. It's so interesting because you have to like apply modifiers, and the modifiers are what makes them so round. Or doing like shade auto smooth, which get that on here and use the shade auto smooth once you're done adjusting it. I know this says plate and it shows a sword. I started with a plate, which is 10 times tinier. There's my plate. It's almost bowl-like. I think it's a little too high for a plate, but technically it's still a plate. I mean, it's pretty flat. It's plate-like. I'm pretty proud of it. Oh, this one's colored. I forget. I actually added textures to it, so it's like shiny and reflective. You can choose different settings, and I liked this one because it gives like, you're looking through like trees and foliage. Otherwise here's an area that's more like a plain. But I think the best one is the foliage. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Looks super cool, thank you. I'm just following tutorials. I can't claim like I made these from scratch and I'm really good at this. No, I'm just following tutorials, but I'm actually getting it because I'm starting to learn. Oh, let me see. Let me see if I can share my documentations. When you're learning, document everything because you're going to forget and you're going to want to look at it again later without finding the same video you watched. Also, excuse any grammar issues. It doesn't matter to me because as long as I can read it, I don't care. Here you go. I've written lots of Blender notes. I don't know how well you guys can see this. Can I zoom in? I have links to things that I've watched. My shortcuts, like when I'm in object mode versus edit mode shortcuts. Because trust me, it's hard to memorize all these and you're going to want to come back. Like Control T, I keep forgetting how to triangulate the mesh. And then I have some modifiers that I've used over and over again. I've only used screw once, but screw is very good for making objects that are round. And then add-ons that you need to turn on every time that I see people always add. I forgot what this one's called, but I know it's got loop in the name, and I know once I see it again, I'll find it. And then, of course, I have written down like how to follow a tutorial. So like making my cups, I have all the steps that I would follow to make it again. The chair that I made, which I haven't even pulled up yet. And then I didn't even put this one down. This was the plate tutorial in under 1 minute. It is the hardest. The plate for the 1 minute tutorial was the hardest one I've ever followed. My brain could not comprehend what they were doing. That one was difficult. So just saying, the plate was harder to make than the sword was. Oh, now it's being all shiny. It's almost like a plastic look. There's my chair. I tried to make it a little lumpy, but the lumpiness was hard to do. This one's not colored. No coloring. Sometimes you color. But there's my chair. It was very interesting because you start by looking at it from the side. Anyway, pretend there's like a reference here on the side, and it's the chair itself. And you basically start by making one part of the leg, and then you use a modifier, and you pull it over to this side, and then you make everything in the middle. Everybody makes items differently in Blender. There is no right way to do it. Some people start with planes. Some people start with cubes. Some people start with spheres. It blows my mind how everybody does it differently. Ooh, grease pencil. I want to get into grease pencil at some point. That's, you draw in Blender, basically, and you can make a whole world that is drawn and 3D. Oh, that breaks my brain as well. Maybe someday I'll get into grease pencil. Right now we make objects over and over again. Okay, low poly world, I made this one last night. I have not finished the tutorial. It is just a block with trees and rocks and grass, and everything is separated. I was trying to work on the next step, which is like you're making like this campfire, and you're making these little bricks, and you're supposed to make the bricks go around in a circle, and I haven't figured out how to copy a brick and make that brick go around symmetrically. I can't do it. So many things. Look at all this. I have a bunch of unlabeled items up here. This is what happens when you don't label them. You're like, okay, what is cube 4? It's a little tiny tree. What is cube 7? It's another tree. What about this one? Oh, that one's a rock. That one's another rock. Label. Remember to label. Don't leave it unlabeled. I'm definitely enjoying the low poly tutorials more than anything that's like realistic. Low poly's more fun. 1 to 2 projects a day. I try not to spend more than like 2 hours on them. Some are faster. Some, your brain goes, I'm done. I'm done for the day, and steps away. A tutorial could say, hey, this is 15 minutes. It's gonna take you longer than 15 minutes. You're gonna be pausing like every 2 seconds. Every 2 seconds, like, okay, what did they use? I don't remember what they used. What shortcut was that? Knowing your shortcuts is so important in Blender. Learn your shortcuts or write them down so you can go, oh, it's this one. Just Control F in your notes and find it. Otherwise, Blender's fun, it's free. Play around with it a little bit. Learn your shortcuts. Probably follow a tutorial where it talks about like what everything is. Because so far I hang out in layout, but there's like sculpting, there's editing, there's texture, there's shading, there's animation. You can do crazy things like pulling this over and working on your nodes over here. Ugh. So scrambling my brain. I'm glad I could scramble your brain for the day.